In the last few years, one of the biggest questions I've got is, what in the world am I doing with my life? You just heard from a ton of speakers who already had it all figured out. They got up, they did the thing, they're good. But the rest of us are asking, where are we? What in the world are we doing? So I started asking, what does it take to solve the world? When you can answer that question, you can figure out what you're doing. So I looked at this chart that was put together by the United Nations, and it has just about every problem possibly imaginable. And I looked at this, and I lost my damn mind. And so I started trying to figure out, what do you do with this? So I started putting this framework together that says, all right, world's got problems. So now there's a ton of organizations, some of them you just heard from, that are doing stuff about this. So how do we connect people with these organizations? And how do we help people understand that they can make a difference in these spaces? They can learn the technology tools and the innovation tools that are the levers for change that lets people do something about this. So I started breaking these giant problems down into little tiny bite-sized topics. What you see on the screen behind me is wildfires. I looked at all the organizations across the state that are actually helping to solve, you guessed it, wildfires. If you want to see that in person, you can go onto the meaningfulimpacthub.com/wildfires, plural, they're out there. And these are the pathways that people can take to start solving this. There are government agencies, firefighters, volunteer firefighters. I found out that most people that are actually responding to these wildfires are volunteers. They actually put their lives on the line and go out to be the emergency first responder because they know that they need to get it done. You see all the dots behind me? That is data. The magic of data put that together. I won't describe how to do that because I only have 5 friggin' minutes. And so data happened. And then I described how all these problems came together. And so this, if you actually go onto that website that I talked about, you can start filtering it and saying, these are the emergency responders, these are the people that are doing precision burns, these are the people making sure we don't get dead. And so then I started saying, okay, the dots on the map are cool, but what are the stories behind the dots? Who are the people that are actually impacted by this? Why should we care? And so I started collecting all these different news stories and perspectives and people that actually need this help. Then I collected the stories of the people that are helping. Then I collected more stories about the technology tools and the innovations that are changing the game and making life safer for the firefighters going out there and making sure we don't get dead. I don't know how else to say that. So then this kind of all culminated together to figure out, all right, now we have all these tools that are together. How do we help people navigate this stuff? We have the problems and we have the organizations. So then I started the Life Accelerator to help people just rapidly go through and test out and figure out where they fit in the world. Because most people, they don't get it figured out right away. They don't say, yes, I saw that problem. I know little free pantries. That is what I'm going to do with my life. I wish that life were that easy. I heart little free pantries, but people need options. So this is what I started putting together was a library of problems. That giant map from the UN, I started breaking it down into tiny little subtopics and connecting it all together. Most people don't know half the technology that exists in the world. They need to know about it. So they need to know about artificial intelligence and machine learning and drones and all that cool magical stuff, including the data that made this a thing. And so then once people can start exploring that, understanding it, figuring out what to do with it, then they can actually start figuring out their life. And it seems easier once you actually see examples of it, but only so much time. And so then the next thing that's on my docket is putting together more of those little story maps and more of those little maps like that say, this is a thing, it's a problem, here's how you can do something about it, let's do this thing. And many of the stories that you heard tonight are going to actually wind up on more of those maps. So it all kind of goes in a circle. And good times were had by all. So So if you want to help out with this, you can go to that website or you can email me at amanda.sweet@nebraska.gov. Yes, I work for a state agency. It's a thing. We're a library that helps libraries. Cool.